All right, welcome to this music production course. This video is going to be about your studio. So not the part where you record your vocal in the studio, but the part where you are going to mix your sound. What do you need in the room where you are going to mix your song? The first thing you need are monitor speakers. These are flatline speakers. It means there is no bass boost, there's no treble boost. They try to play the music for you without in a flat. That's what they call a flat response. Like they don't boost. They don't try to make it better the sound than it actually is. I made a little drawing. Looks a bit ridiculous, but it might do the trick. This I got these KRK monitor speakers. They look like this. You have all kinds of sizes. So I have also, by the way, monitor speakers from Yamaha, but the bass came out on the backside of that Yamaha speaker, and you had to place it 1.5 meters away from the wall. My room is not that big, so those KRK speakers, the bass is coming out here. There is a little opening here. Normally there should be a little opening here too. I can't see it though. So you have the treble. The treble is on the top. Those are the mid-range frequencies, and then you have the bass coming out a little bit lower. The first thing you have to do is you have to place those speakers facing straight forward. This one to place it facing forward, and then you start turning that speaker 30 degrees. This one too, you face forward and then you turn it 30 degrees. How do you know what 30 degrees is? Well, if you download the KRK app on your phone, then there is a line. You can there's an align button, and if you press it, you can put your iPhone or whatever phone you have on the speaker, and the moment you start turning the speakers, it shows you how much degrees you have been turning the speaker. So 30 degrees here, 30 degrees there, and the sound will come to you. What's the height of your chair? This here, the position between the treble and the mid here, this should be on the same height as your ears. So if this position is like, if you're sitting on a chair and your ears are, for example, that's the blue line here, 1.20 meters away from the floor. And so I measured it. My ear is 1.20 meters away from the floor. Then this point should be also 120 meters, 1.20 meters away from the floor. So you have to adapt the stand so that that point is a straight line to your ears. Next thing you have to do is you have to sit within that line. So if you draw a line, the sound goes like this and the sound goes like this. You have to sit with your head closer. Don't sit here with your head. No, sit within this triangle, sit over here. What happens then is that the sound that comes out of this speaker and this speaker creates a phantom mono. That's what it's called. So it's stereo, but when you sit here, then it will seem as if the music is hanging over here in the air. You will hear it over here as if the band is playing over here. You will not hear the sound coming out of that speaker or coming out of that speaker. No, the sound will seem to hang between the speakers, and that's ideal for mixing the music. Now have a look. How far away should you put those speakers? You should put them 1.70 meters or 1.80 meters apart from each other. Why? When you're mixing music, you're panning instruments to the right and you're panning instruments to the left. You're creating a stereo mix. The question is now, how wide are you going to pan those instruments? If you pan them too wide, it might seem as if the mix falls apart a bit, as if the instruments are all separate instruments, and it's not a band anymore. If you pan them too close to each other, the instruments, then you don't have much of that stereo field wideness that might lift up a song. Then all the frequencies are on top of each other. It's nice to pan them out a bit and widen that wide feeling. What happens now is this. If you put the speakers too far away from each other and you listen to the music, you might think, it's already too wide, let's narrow the mix down. When you put the speakers very close to each other, and when you listen to the music, to this phantom mono, you will think like, oh, it's not wide enough, and you will pan them out more than you would normally do. So it seems that if you put the speakers away from each other, between 1.70 meters and 1.80 meters, the amount of panning that you will apply will be exactly what is needed. And the song will have a nice wideness, and at the same time it will still sound as one band. When people are listening to it on their devices, because that's always it, you might listen to it on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your MacBook, on your computer. I mean, you might listen to it in the kitchen. And not many people still have two speakers. But you are mixing for whatever device people might hear your music on. And as you don't know what kind of device that's going to be, is it in a car maybe? You don't know. You mix it with a certain wideness. You pan the music out so it sounds wide, and at the same time you don't pan it too much, so it will still sound as one band and the instruments will still be glued together, hang together, and they will not sound as separate items. And that's how you do it. So 1.70 meters away from each other or a bit more, 30-degree angle. You make sure that it points at your ears, the same height, ears at 1.20 meters, then the tweeter here, that point should be between the tweeter and it should be pointing at your ears, same height, and then you have that phantom mono, and then you can mix. What is this? If this is a wall, you should put something against that wall. Acoustic materials, acoustic panels, about 15 centimeters wide. So if the panel is only 5 centimeters wide, you might have to use 3 panels. And you are going to make sure that the sound that comes out of those speakers doesn't resonate back, doesn't bounce back to your ears. So that's the goal. Why? Why should you mix your music in a room that's quite dry? The reason is that when a person plays the song on its own device, like when you play the song on your iPad, you might be in the living room or in your bedroom or wherever. I don't know where you listen to music, or you might listen to it in your car, and the car is quite dry. But you might also listen to music in your kitchen, and your kitchen, the tiles of the kitchen might give a lot of room reverb, create a lot of room reverb. So I have to take into account when I mix a song that the person is going to play it or might play it in a room that has already its own reverb. So I should add some reverb to the song, but not too much, because if you play that very wet song in your kitchen, it will sound too wet because the wetness of my song will be combined with the wetness of your kitchen, with the reverb of your kitchen. So again, you dry your room a bit with those panels, you dry out your room a bit, and this way you're sure you're not taking into account the reverb of your own room. When you're mixing, you should add some reverb or delays to your music to create a certain wetness, to make the music a bit wet. But you should not take the wetness of your own room into account. Imagine I'm mixing music in my kitchen, then I might mix the music too dry because I think, ooh, it's already very wet, so I will dry the music out. If I mix the music in a very dry room with with acoustic treatment like this one, I might add a little bit more reverb, but I should take into account not to make it too wet because people will still play it in their own acoustic environment. Let's see if we go to the song now. So I mixed this song, taking into account that you might play it wherever you are. You might even hear it through headphones. So if you hear it through headphones, let's see if I can go back to my painting, or is it gone? It seems to be gone. Let's see. There it is. So if you listen to my music through headphones, then you only have the reverb I added. There is nothing else and there is even a weird thing when you have headphones on. When I'm listening to my music through those monitor speakers, I will hear the left speaker more with my left ear and the right speaker more with my right ear, but I will still hear the right speaker with my left ear, and I will still hear this speaker with the ear on this side. There is a little bit crossover. Of course, if the speaker is standing over here, the left ear will hear it louder, and if the speaker's over here, this ear over here will later hear it louder, but the other ear is hearing it too. And with headphones, that doesn't happen anymore. That's why you can't mix music with headphones on, because you don't have that crossover, that this speaker, that you can also hear it with the other ear. You hear music with both ears, so there's a certain crossover. So you can't mix with headphones, but you might listen to my music with headphones. So I have to add some reverb to it, and because that's the only reverb you will get then, because your headphones inside, there is no room there for resonating, to make the sound resonate. You might listen to my music in your car now, or you might listen to it in maybe like you have a certain office. Let's listen to it.
All butterflies searching for nirvana. Without a proper guide, I am what I am. You are what you are. We're old but not bold. Oh, what a joke. They try butterfly.
All right. Is that all there is to say about the mixing studio? I think so, yes. Those are the most important things. All right, that's it then.